things like that. And also when I play with my team, they've been like helping me with that, like learning. Because sometimes I'll say like, oh, this person is old, and they'll be like, actually, they're probably like 50 or 70, and I'm like, okay. So I'm kind of getting better at that. But like I think this map, I just struggled kind of playing around my brig. So I just wanted some like maybe help on that.
So your team, you also gonna play brig in there, yeah? Just in general.
Maybe the support that was playing that game was someone who was also trying out, so they weren't necessarily on the team, but they were another tryout. So we were just kind of getting destroyed by their tracer. So
So it's this code here is just a normal competitive, or it's a screen one?
it's a scrim code.
It's screen one. Okay. Yeah. Well, hopefully you can also go over the hero pools later. Maybe what they wanna. What they want you to run potentially. Just be careful with having too many supports in your pool. I think so far, well, you probably gonna be the one with if you're gonna be keep playing Ana, probably the brick shouldn't be in your pool in most cases. Just saying. But there might be cases where you run some sort of weird comp, might seem weird, where it's Brig Zen, but it's not as frequent right now because the ball is not being played. It's usually when you play with somewhat of a ball composition, you might do that, but right now usually it's either Winston or Diva. I've been playing it at Dive, that's why you need the Ana to keep up the Winston, and then the Brig can be played as secondary support to kind of peel a little bit more and deal with flankers just in general, kind of push them away, generally speaking. So yeah, I would be careful with that in break, but we can also go with that. Yeah, it's up to you.
Yeah, I mean, let me look at something
Because
on my game.
I'm trying to just be as helpful as possible. I'm just not sure
Yeah,
if you're gonna have the brig in your pool. That's what I'm trying to say.
yeah.
But if we
Okay.
wanna go with the Ana, it's okay.
Okay, let me look at something real quick.
I see that you have the you play an Ana at the start though.
Yes, I was talking about our brig, like the other support.
Oh, okay. So okay, then I misunderstood you. Yeah, because what I
Oh,
mean
that's
is,
okay.
yeah, because what I meant is if you play brig, I thought
No,
you.
yeah, okay.
Okay. Now it's all good. If you
Yeah.
play with a brig, it's okay. But you know,
Okay. Yeah,
yeah.
I think I struggle like playing with the brig. Just
Okay, I
But
got
yeah,
it.
you can look at that. Yeah.
Okay, so can you see my stream right now?
Yes.
All right. So we toggle playing with a brick. What is that exactly? Is there anything like besides flankers? What was difficult?
Um, I was just kind of having trouble understanding, I guess, when we were like engaging, just because our brig wasn't making too many callouts and like saying what they were doing, and our tank wasn't either. Those are two tryouts as well. So, but I just kind of tried to stay with my brig as much as I could, but the tracer was there and the sojourn was there, so it was kind of, I don't know. You can watch it. But yeah, it was just difficulty.
Definitely the big part, because you're playing in a scrim somehow. That's what I like to talk about a lot, is how you solve this with the communication, if there's anything you struggle with, because you're playing in a team environment. Potentially you can communicate in certain ways, so you can deal with those flankers. You can also maybe, like you said, push up a little bit more. Maybe you can use abilities in a certain way. This one is really important, and it's just kind of micro communication, but micro maybe, and then you can also think about the big picture, how you contribute to the plan. But maybe because we don't have comms right now, we can just go with the more of a simple stuff right now, just for later. Maybe in a case you're gonna be playing the scrim here, if you can also record your game, I think it can be helpful to go with the more of a bigger picture. The communication and stuff can be really helpful as well in this environment. It's just for ranked, it's not as helpful.
Yeah, this is
okay.
Grim. Yeah.
Yeah, I can just write it down in a task so I will not forget. Maybe if you can't do that, just in the case, if you can't get the scream code. So get scream code. Oh, so it's like recording. Get scream recording and go over planning and comms, because this one is really important. And the comms can be, because you're playing support, you're gonna be the one searching for information as well a lot of times, like tracking the ultimates, saying who has certain thing, maybe even scouting for certain characters on the enemy team, because you're the one who has all the field of view in terms of you kind of see your team in the front, and then you see an enemy as well. Like tank, for example, don't have as much information as you do, or your other DPS characters, they a lot of times they will not have as much information as you do. That's why how you communicate is going to be important. Okay, go over planning comms. Okay. So what's the idea with this comp? What are you guys looking to do?
So they didn't really like say what the plan was for the comp. There was not like too much communication on the tank or supports part. The two on my team, the two DPS are, or actually, sorry, the Junkrat on my team is a one of the varsity players that's on the team. But the tank and another support were really communicating what the comp was or anything. So I was just planning on going Ana to like just support everyone because we had a brig and I wanted to go like high healing. And yeah.
Did you have a captain who made this final decision to go this composition though, or it was just kind of more of let's go comfort picks?
So there is a coach, but this is tryouts, so he just tells us to play what we are comfortable with and what he like. He says he doesn't worry about winning or losing. He just worries about gameplay. So
yes. This is good. Because so what you're saying, you played your comfort picks, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. This is fine. You still can think about some general ideas later. You will develop probably in the once you play more and more, you will see how you're probably gonna be experimenting with different comps as well. But it's mostly gonna be around comfort picks, because if you're comfortable with playing certain thing, then you can get the highest value. You not necessarily have to run Overwatch League comps if you're not really comfortable in those. This is like the last priority, really. The first one is just what we most comfortable with, but still you can kind of think about the general idea of just what are we strong at, not based on it. It doesn't matter what comp you run, you just look at the general idea basically. So here, what is the idea with this comp? What do you think? Like, what are you strong at? Any big things?
So I usually see Ram as like a rush kind of pick. But you like the cast and the Junkrat kind of seem like pokey to me.
Right.
So we kind of have a rush with like the brig and the ram, but kind of looking for picks in a way, I suppose.
Did we go over team compositions basics with you, or we didn't?
A little bit, but I probably could use more help on that.
That's alright. Okay, so just really simple ideas we can look at. I'm thinking, okay, so it's not that complicated. Always we can look at this. Look at your comp. Oh, this is too much. Okay, look at your comp and look at the enemy and decide what range you're gonna be playing. It's kind of the general idea. Of course, there are some characters who like to play more pokish style, like you mentioned. There are some characters who like to play more brawl style, but understand the general idea of what your comp is going to be about, what is your range is going to be more about. Okay, so by looking at this, if you compare your comp to the enemy, what is the range we should be playing? What are we stronger at, short or long range?
Let's put it this way. I'd say we're stronger at short.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just because of the brig and the ram, but and also Junkrat. But also, I think our cast is a good pick because they can help with like the tracer.
Yeah. There's a lot of short range strat potential from your team, like mine, like casted grenade. Well, it's a little bit overtuned now with the long range thing, but well, it's okay. And also Ram, of course. So that is the first part. Identify the range, and then see how you can play around that. Okay, so let's just go over this layer first and see how we applying this, so how we can contribute to this range here. Because we know our team is really strong in the short range. Let's see how we use our abilities, I think. Okay, so we kind of, let's just do it this way. Okay, so we're looking for the nade. Okay, what do you think? Is it a good nade if we know that our composition is kind of more short range oriented, or what's your thoughts?
I should probably use it when I know we have someone to engage on instead of like just throwing it in.
So
or maybe like use it defensively since they have like a more long range comp.
You could.
Or,
you can use it defensively, but remember, the biggest value is always should be prioritized by. We should be looking for the offensive one, ideally.
Okay.
Well, even the more ideal scenario, if you can also hit one of your members too, and then hit that aggressive nade as well, right? But now, if we look at this nade, can anybody follow up? Yeah, can most of your team follow up on this nade?
No, probably not.
Probably not.
I mean,
right? Well,
Ram, but that's it.
Yeah.
I mean,
so see, this is might be a little bit tricky. You have two solutions now, but of what you can do. If that would be ranked, you probably expect your team kind of look for those linear decisions where they just walk forward continuously, and then, if you don't have your ability, then it's kind of not as good because they kind of follow up, right? The range, their heroes, they kind of do much right now. But in the actual team environment, what you could do is say, I don't have my nade, let's play slow, for example. Yeah, let's just hide, guys, something. Yeah, you could just say this, maybe. That's possible because you want to ideally use your nade if you're about to brawl. We want to use our nade when most of your team can follow up, right? So there are multiple solutions what you can do with that. It's not just that simple. Okay, use your nade, you're lost. No, you can maybe just tell your team, okay, guys, play it solo, and then I can look for the nade. Yep. Because nade is really strong win condition. This is one part. The second is, well, simply maybe don't want to need that. We can just wait. We can just wait and use later when your team is gonna be doing this sort of, yeah. When this happens, the Ram goes Nemesis, the Cassidy can use Grenade, yeah. I'll look at these factors, like when they can do that big burst, yeah, when most of your team can do this big burst.
Yeah, I think you talked about that once where you're saying like there's like poke phase and then brawl phase is what you're talking about, like
yeah. So you kind of, we use the nade because you were saying like you were thinking the poke phase is there, yeah. Yeah, okay, this thinking, it might make sense, but we just gotta recognize, is it really true based on the distance? And so on those types of maps where it's King of the Hill might be difficult sometimes because the fights are starting like really soon, sort of both teams are going towards each other. That's why the poke phase is really tricky because you don't have the distance. Yeah, so you want to be careful with using the nade too early, but still you can get away with this if you communicate properly. Yeah, you might look for the nade. It can be fine, especially if you're the one who is maybe high ranked compared to everybody else, because they can play around certain carry, like you can be the carry technically, and that's where they want to enable you more. So if you don't have the nade, does make sense to move up. It's okay to be like, oh, I'm really strong, we can play around you, or maybe you have really strong Cassidy, we can play around strong Cassidy. That's what we did, and just some of the teams are coached. If we have strong player, if we really mechanically confident, well, we can play around him, just enable him as much as possible. So that's where you can think, okay, how they can enable you. Yeah, this is all right. Just saying, something you can think about. Okay, we didn't watch this first fight, we kind of skipped it. So there was a time when the Tracer was rushing, and then walking in the Tracer. Right, so we kind of just hold our abilities at this point, yeah. What do you think here? Could we be using it at any point of time here?
Since my team's kind of going in, I could anti. I could try and look for the nade on the tank, maybe.
Yeah, maybe we can. What do you think is the best time would be here to do something like that, to do the nade? What about now, if you nade this ram, for example?
That might be good because he's running at us. I could also try and sleep him. That's usually what I do when the ram's in Nemesis.
Yeah, you can do that, but see, we just always kind of can look back at what I'm mentioning and say our composition is about what, like playing at the shorter distances, shorter range, and see most of your characters, can they do damage now? Well, sort of, they can, yeah, they can just go with this Ramatra, like the Junkra can use his mines, Ramatra can use his nemesis, there's also Brig even, well, the Brig should be paying attention to Tracer slightly more, so
Yeah.
But most of your characters, they can follow up on that, so this is kind of the main trigger for you to do something like this, yeah? That's where most of your attention is at. Of course, it's not as simple sometimes, you might just look for a solo nade, maybe there, get a kill, if somebody's killable, but you know, I understand what your comp is more about. Okay, can most of your team do damage? Well, enable them. Go for the nade. It's alright.
Okay.
Poking the trace out with this quick scope is good. Just be careful with are waiting too long here. It feels like. Yeah. You know,
yeah,
it's oh yeah, continue.
No, I was just say I do notice, like, I mean, obviously in ranked as well, but like, so I played with this tank for a few games, Anubis, and then they swapped me with Adelot, the other tank, and there's such a difference in like the tank because the second tank I played with like made so many call outs, obviously, and like I think I noticed like I always do better when the tank's obviously making like communications, because like I think when the like this game our tank was really not saying much, and it was kind of, I felt more like I had to make the call outs for my tank, which was difficult.
You know,
like, yeah.
this is alright. Honestly, that might be, well, it's always nice if you have the tank communicating, because he can he sets up the pace of the fight, but it's totally fine if you make callouts as well, especially if it's around your big abilities such as nade and sleep dart. Don't be afraid to do that. Honestly, I would just be even like maybe talk to the coach about that as well. Like, what if I will be more proactive, look for the nade? I'm gonna be telling that they will, I think 90% cases they will like that. They will be really good because you are communicating what you're doing. If you also do this kind of when and where part, we can talk about this later, but this is like communication. If you record something that's really visible.
I can record it next time.
Yeah, so we can go over that, but just generally speaking right now, just start with a simple thing. I can call out the nades when I'm about to do those. Even you can even do this calling out on the sleep darts, which you're about to do. The best Anas, they're really good at it because the sleep dart is kind of projectile, and because it's also there's limited time when the target's sleeping, because it takes time for everybody to react. You can just pre-sleep somebody and say, oh, I'm about to sleep this Winston. Oh, well, and because you're saying that, your team is they know the same for now they can turn. Well, there's a part of it they want to, obviously they need to listen. If they listen, that's good, but it's you're still increasing the chance of the kill or the bigger burst on the Winston or bigger burst on the Tracer or whatever you're sleeping.
Yeah, I usually do that with my nades. Like, I'll say like I'm nading, or I'll say like anteing, whatever, and even if it doesn't hit, I'll be like, oh, it didn't hit.
Yeah, and try to specify if there's an issue with if you want to go more in detail. This is okay. Like Bastanas, they're again going to be saying nading this from Matra, and also going to be like in 3 or in 2 or in 1.
Okay.
So you're going to be more accurate. Yeah, it's harder, but start with the single step. Just calling out is always nice, I think. Be more proactive with that is always nice. So yeah, I wouldn't. That's why I wouldn't say that nade, early nade, is too bad if you can make this callouts. I don't have nade right now, so chill. So keep that in mind. Keep in mind your range and resources. Like even even this I think is alright, sort of. Because you close to your nano, so this is okay. You just farm your ultimate. Because the nano is stronger win condition than your nade, it's okay, I think. It's kind of one of these exceptions. You can do this earlier, I think.
Okay.
Why are we waiting to nano here? Why we just don't nano right away?
I think I might have thought that they had trans. And also I was gonna nano our Ram, but I don't remember if I did or not. But I think I was waiting for him to have ults before I nanoed him. And also I was really like focusing on I was trying to keep my Cass and Junk alive here. As well as like thinking about the Tracer behind me. So I was just trying to kind of like sustain everyone, and then I wasn't really focusing on the attack at that moment.
Okay, so let's start with the first part. They have trans. Okay. So if they have trans, then what? Is it bad to use the nano in this case? Do you wanna? Yeah. What's your thought process?
I mean, it probably would have been fine if I used nano, just because we don't have Ramlet yet, so we could have waited out trans and then Ram ulted. But I think I was just, I guess, thinking about that. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just what I'm thinking. It's always good if you first of all think not what the enemy is about to do, what they might use, and then react to that. But rather think about how do you win. It's okay to think, okay, they might do nanoblade, they might trans, but the problem is that a lot of times, and there's like big trap in that we don't exactly know what they're about to do and when they're about to do that. You cannot control them, but you can control what you do. So you can always go, even though the teammates might have 5 ultimates, every single ultimate in the game, you still can have this mindset of how do we win even though they do that. Maybe you do that weird play with certain rollout, just rotation with your team. Maybe it's a certain ultimate. If you just trade one ultimate with 5 or 4 or 3, who knows, it's so a good trade. Always think about how to win the fight, and because you're doing this can force out something. Because like here there's like one part about reacting. You not necessarily have to think about this too much. By the way, nano for trans is a good trade as well. The nano is really easy to farm it's easier to farm compared to the trans, at least. The trans is more it's bigger cost, basically. It does more. That's why it's okay usually to trade with that. For that reason, initiating with nano is good. Okay, so this is the first part. The second is we don't have to wait for the perfect opportunity. If you can turn around the fight, like even now, like let's say nano matter turns around the fight, of course. But can you turn around the fight now by using the nano discacity? Yeah, this is the question, for example. Or can I just nano this Ram right there too? And this also turns around the fight, even without the ultimate. Yeah. So what do you think?
So a lot of times when I do like a nano to save someone, like for Cassie, for example, I always try to think about like how many of our players are going to be alive, you know, if I do this.
Yeah.
And I think I was thinking, you know, sure, if I nano cast, like, he kills Ram, but my Ram or my Junk's gonna die. Either way.
Right.
So I was thinking, is it worth, or do I save nano to nano Ramel next fight,
you just said it, yeah? You could kill the Ram, but your Junker dies. Okay. So, what do you think about this?
I would still be up one, but I think I was thinking, in my head, I think it was not worth, just because our Ram doesn't have any support besides my healing to keep him in the fight, because they'd still be up one compared to us.
Well, you have your brig, sort of, too. It's just slightly in the back.
Okay. Yeah. True.
So it's a still gonna be 4v4. So what do you think?
Okay.
The Ram versus the Junkrat.
I probably could have nanoed him. Yeah.
If we pay attention to this, like this is a good trade. Tank for DPS, good trade. Just don't be afraid to lose your teammates in the game. Like honestly, it's okay to trade backlines. It's okay to trade teammates if you win the fight. The Overwatch is not only I want to survive and I want to get kills at the same time. No, you can actually die if it wins you the fight. There are a lot of cases, let's say I'm on King 0, I just got the first point. Technically, what you can do, you can just push up the enemy really hard in the second point, get one kill and die. And this is really good.
Yeah.
Because you have spawn advantage, for example. Here it's good because you get this, well, definitely the good tank trade. So this is the first part, yeah. Another thing is we want to be careful with assuming like, oh, they might die or they might not. Well, just I think focus more on the present, what's happening now, rather than kind of assuming, oh, like this might happen. So it's kind of the same thinking about, oh, like they might use trans. Yes, they might. And in some cases, it actually might be good mindset to kind of think, okay, the enemy, they do this, and then I play second, react. But this is much, much, much harder mentality at this level, at least. If you're like not around the Overwatch League yet, it's not as good. That's why you will see maybe, probably with the coaching, like with whatever you do, they will tell you be more proactive and be experimenting. This is like always good. Like they will like it for sure. If you're being more proactive, it's okay, rather than, you know, kind of waiting for the enemy team to make a move because you don't know as well.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. All right. Oh, well, there's a lot of talking, but this is important, I think.
No, it is helpful.
Yeah. Because I think now you win the fight if you just use the nano and the cast. Probably we would have won it.
Okay, yeah.
By the way, another part is we looked at the range. So most of your team, they could apply the range as well if you nano in this case, yeah. So like here, well, you just walk in, okay, nano Cassidy, everybody can use their short range, yeah. So it's alright, it's good. You playing around your win condition always with your resources. If there's question if your ultimate gets value or not, just look at if your team can get value with their resources, yeah, like what your composition is more about. You're playing in a space where resources can be used, so this is like fine. By the way, the Matra still dies, your Junkrat dies, and Cassidy just dies because we didn't nano. But if we have the Cassidy now, then you probably just turn this around. Yeah, even without the Cassidy, it's kind of, you're winning it almost.
I think I nano him, yeah.
Because, like, this is generally speaking good, the nano ram. Just be careful with waiting for the perfect opportunity.
Yeah, okay.
Because if the enemy feeds really...
I have... It's funny because I've played, like, a few ranked games with a few of the players yesterday, and I was playing Ana, and there were, like, a few moments where I nanoed, like, Cass or Genji, like, in a moment to save them. And it was funny because they were like, wow, that was like a really good play. And then it's funny because I didn't think of it in that moment, which is funny seeing it now. I would have done that. I think I was just like trying to look for the best possible play.
Yeah, this is definitely good mindset. You don't have to be yeah, it was like our first lessons. We don't have to be like too passive, like make sure you play around what you throw at, like be aggressive but at the right moment, at the right time. It's okay, you still can initiate. If it didn't work while you learned why it didn't work, maybe it didn't work because of your comp, you kind of follow up, maybe it didn't work because of the enemy they kiting, but at least you learn from it. It's always improving. It's always nice to be on the more proactive node. You trying things, you make mistakes, and then you learn from those. If you're not being proactive, not making mistakes, then you're kind of stuck in the same level. Usually, it's just the general mindset. Yeah, that's why, like, let's say I'm going to the gym, I want to lift more weights. If I want to make progress, I can do different things. Well, the most common is I can just lift more, just a little bit more, and see how is that gonna work. Yeah. Sometimes and some days I cannot do that, maybe because I didn't get enough sleep, maybe I didn't get enough, maybe I didn't eat enough or something like that, so I can learn from it. But it's always like, because I'm trying and I'm kind of pushing my limits.
Yeah.
If I just like leave that weight on the floor and I'm like, well, I'm not doing anything, then I cannot improve. I can't.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
It's just with anything in a sport, in a real life, it's always nice. Well, the other problem, a lot of people, they might be afraid making mistakes because of what other people think, or what you might think about yourself in the moment. But if that's the case, we can also go with that later. Just saying, maybe if there's an issue, we can go with the mentality. But
yeah, I was it's funny because I don't have the code anymore because it got lost. But the first tryout, on the few of the maps, like King's Row, for example, I was playing Ana, and they had like flying characters like Echo, and then I would always shoot the Echo and just kill them or do things proactively, and then I think that was like they always liked that, so that makes a lot of sense. Actually, I think I do have a code, Nepal code, where I like killed both the pharmacy, and it was so funny. I wish I recorded the voice chat because everyone was like, "Oh my gosh," it was really funny.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
Okay. So we go over this map too, yeah. Or you
this is the one. So you don't have to watch the whole thing if you don't want, but this is the one where they were kind of telling me to stick with my brig.
That's all right.
And we just had like trouble with the tracer, like the whole map here.
Okay. So maybe we can think about the second perspective now. So I just talked about the range. Yeah, okay. Maybe we still can use this perspective a little. Just watch it. Well, your composition is. Yeah. What do you think? What is overall range you should be playing? Short or long? Short. Yeah.
Short.
Yeah. Close. Yeah. So short range. And now the second layer is all about how you set up. Okay. And what setup might mean is, let's just say this: it's how you take angles, depending on your situation. So the range is short. The setup is range short. The setup is how I take angles, and that's where you can make a decision to be with your brig, not be with your brig. But why do you think you need to be with your brig, or maybe not be with your brig, based on their comp and based on your comp? What's your thoughts?
So I was first wasn't like entirely planning on staying with my brig just because I didn't know what they had yet. But when I saw the tracer, I like immediately was like, okay, I should probably stay as close to the brig as I can. I don't know if it was like my fault or the brig's fault, but I think our brig's positioning sometimes was a little weird just because I was trying to stay in line of sight with our team. But a lot of times our brig was kind of going off her own, trying to kill the tracer, and I couldn't really stick with her in that situation, you know what I'm saying? Because I was like in their team.
Yeah, okay, I get it. You know, how you can think about this. So the angles perspective is all about understanding that do we play closer to your team, or can we be more greedy with angles? So what I mean with soft here, it's where you play closer to your team. You still take angles, but it's not that greedy. Yes, think about it's kind of the scale. Yeah, like sliding scale. Yeah, I can be more on this side of the scale. I can be maybe on the right side of the scale where I go for hard angles. Now, if we go for really flanky angles against their comp, can we do that? Like be really away from your comp, away from your team. Is it possible to do that?
Well, me as Ana, no, probably not.
Why not?
Just because I feel like I'd be punished by their Ana or their Diva Tracer. Just I feel like it'd be
what
really
is the biggest threat there? What are the biggest threats?
Tracer and Diva.
Tracer and Diva, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why
Yeah.
you can be that isolated. Yeah. So hard means I'm more. So to make it like, this is isolated. I don't know, that's just more isolated here, and soft, you playing more closer to your team, so kind of
that makes sense.
stacked, yeah. And this is where you make a decision again based on your comp, what you're strong at, but based on how the enemy, what the enemy comp is too, based on their threats, sort of. Okay, and because they have those threats now, that means you kind of be more leaning towards this side of the scale. But it still doesn't mean that you cannot go for the angles. You just gotta be aware of who can punish you when you do that, yeah? You gotta be aware of the Tracer, you gotta be aware of the Diva, and that's why they say play close to Brig. It's because Brig is really good at peeling for those characters. It's really good at booping the Tracer away. It's really good at booping the Diva away as well. And just protecting you even with a shield from this high burst sometimes, okay? That's why it's good, okay? So let's watch what's happening there. If we just like look at the angles. Okay, so here we're kind of playing the point. That makes sense. You just want to get this point control while May laboratory extends there. Got slapped, that's fine. Just need a little bit more patience with the point control there, and just in general, like your team there. Okay, let's watch one more. So that's where we're probably gonna be playing closer to the break now. Let's see if we do. Okay, TPing. So, for example, now, let's watch this a little bit slower. There's an aid. Okay, there's a Diva. What do you think if we take an angle, I don't know, like let's say your team goes like on this side, so they like 4 people here, and maybe you take an angle like from there. What do you think? Is it something what the enemy can punish if you take this kind of angle? Just in general, or maybe I
think their Tracer would just go behind me. I mean, I know we walled off, but I think yes, I could. Like, I think that'd be something I'd have to call out, or something, just because our team's naturally gonna just kind of go forward, but
yeah, they can.
I think here what I found difficult was that, like what you were mentioning earlier, like the soft angle, like staying still close to the teammates was difficult because we're trying to get the point, but I was getting attacked from like Diana, the Tracer behind me, and the Diva in front of me. You know what I mean? So it was like I wasn't really sure how to do anything here.
So, first of all, we want to understand when somebody can punish you or not. Like, for example, there's Tracer, maybe there's a wall, the Tracer cannot punish you, so maybe you can use this window of opportunity, or maybe the Diva for the in. You can also kind of think, okay, I can take slight angle, but it's not necessarily means you're leaving your team as well. It's just you're gonna be taking this slightly another angle on the other side, so you can look to control the map better. Just in general, let's say your team shoots the Zenyatta trying to hide behind this pillar, but because you're here, then you can kill him. So that's what I'm saying. You're still gonna be taking this angle slightly, like depending on where your core is. It's just for example, my core goes left. I can go right, but it can be like you being here, for example, because this is too isolated, because your core cannot help you. But if I'm here, my Brig still can support me. I'm still in range of the Brig. So
I see.
That's what it means. I don't want to be just like be stacked on her. I still can take this relatively good angle of where she can kind of let's put it this way, you're gonna be playing one bash away from her, and bash you can go from here to here, sort of.
Okay.
So it's alright. If I'm playing like too far, let's say my brick is here and then I'm here, maybe it's a little bit too isolated. The brick, it will be a little bit harder, but yeah, I think just general mindset can be I can play one bash away. It's pretty universal. But keep in mind as well, like, who's punishing you too. If they cannot punish you, well, you still can go for the angles. There's one thing, and then another one, we want to minimize the sweats we deal with, so it's just when we TPing right after here. Okay, so you check in this angle in the back. You're checking for this, this tracer, right? Then you go left, and then we was going left, we're trying to deal with the right side, yeah, but see, now you exposed to this Ana, for example, yeah, and this is where it's not as ideal to you just in general against any comp, because enemies now, they can, well, there's a chance maybe you can be pushed from here, but there's also a chance you can be pushed from there. You always want to be exposed to one angle at a time, and make sure if you're exposed to the angle, you're kind of dealing with that angle. Yeah, that does make sense. If we are exposed to the angle and we not paying attention to that Ana, sort of, or we're not paying attention to this diva, if I'm exposed to this diva. Or maybe Tracer can be there, yeah? If you're exposed to this angle, then you have to pay attention to her. If the Tracer is attacking you from this side, what you can do maybe, if I don't want to be exposed to that, I can be slightly to the right, I can be playing slightly to the left, yeah? It's just one angle at a time. So this is like, at this point, you could be playing maybe like slightly closer to this side, yeah? It's alright. Keep in mind, you also have the sleep dart too, so it should be okay. Later, once this angle is dropped, you'll have to pay attention. You have to deal with that, yeah? What is really sweating into you, there's a lot of your attention should be towards that. Because you can just poke this divers away, you can use your scope shots, unscope maybe as well. Yeah, just quick scope general, the tracer is good. And then you can also sleep dart them too. Okay. Yeah, this is like exactly, there's a lot to do about your attention, so we... And that's how we, that's how we decide how to set up. We look at what our comp does, what are we strong at, how we take angles, how we can take angles. And then you look at the threats too, because they have that some dive members that can't be as isolated, for example.
And do you think we could look at another game for like the rest of the time real quick?
Oh, sure, yeah, if you want to.
It's a Kiriko game, just so you can see some of my Kiriko gameplay as well. Because I am playing her as well. That's the main two I've been playing.
We can take a look. Yeah, so main things. So it's a range setup. The setup, we thinking about the threats and also your comp. Okay, let's see the code. Okay, what was about that code? What we want to look at?
Oh, just like my Kiriko angling, and because I know we talked about using her like abilities as well. Like talked about like being more aggressive with her, and then like you know, how to use Suzu and shift and everything. So just all that.
Right. Okay. So this is kind of the second part. Yeah? If you use the same perspective, which we used before, we can think about the range, we can think about the setup. So if we go with the range, your composition is closer range compared to the enemy. And in terms of setup, how you take angles, who you gonna play with?
Tracer.
Tracer, okay. And what is the scale? Is it like softer or hard sort of angles?
Harder, I'd imagine.
Yeah. So more flanky-ish kind of, yeah. And what it depends on why you take hard angles. Like, how do you make this decision?
Where just like the call. So what our tracer was calling out was saying like telling the rest of our team to let us know when the enemy team was pushing up to them, and then we would try and engage based off of that.
So this is the first part, yeah? How my team is playing, how they like to control angles, yeah? So your previous composition on Lijiang Tower, yeah? They like to control point. That's why you take angles on the point, but it's not like hard angles, it's soft.
Also, this is the game where I was with a different tank, and the tracer that was on Lijiang on the enemy team is on my team now.
Yeah.
So just you know that too.
This is okay. Yeah. This is all right. So let's see here. The first part is how my team's controlling angles. We have the tracer. Okay. This is the just composition perspective, what our team comp does. But then on the enemy, you look at the threats. So what we did was the Lijiang Tower as well. We looked at their threats. Who was the most threatening? It was D.Va, Tracer. That's why you was not able to take those greedy angles. With Ana, at least, yeah, because you don't have the strong escape tools and everything, yeah. Here, there's really nothing besides range damage with what can punish you well. Maybe Genji can close the gap, but it's not as threatening because you can always escape with your shift ability, yeah? That's why this is where you make a decision. I'm being more greedy with the angles, okay? Because it might be different story where, I don't know, in what world, but maybe you play Kiriko and then you have Brawl comp, but then they have dive. It will mean that you would probably play closer to softer side of the scale because the dive is really good at punishing you if you being like really greedy. While the Kiriko is on the nature, you good at being like flankish. That's why compared to the Ana, you're gonna be closer to hard side of the scale, but still it's like, you know, on this side, still to the left side. So if I'm keep it simple, like Kiriko here, Ana is like maybe here, for example.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right. Yeah, of course, it's like there are a lot of simplifications to it. I think this is useful. Right. So
okay, I guess I didn't go with my tracer.
I'm thinking, you definitely should.
Okay, my bad.
You can still be aware of like where's the main fight. Obviously, you want to keep this up, sort of. But I'm definitely thinking like this is extremely nice if you can set up the pressure on the Ana, help your tracer, enable the tracer, because this is the most aggressive angle, and then push this guy's away too. And because it's scrim, there's a lot about the communication, how you do that. So you're probably like
I think it's funny because like when you asked like what the plan was, I actually thought that I did that because I think maybe he didn't. I don't think he said he was going there. Yeah.
But this is where you get to be communicating even before, like, what is the plan? Okay, it can be around what we do with our composition range setup, okay? How do we take angles? Okay, if I want to be with a tracer, which with some teams it might make sense, with some maybe not, but you gotta be communicating this, and because you're with a tracer, then what this means for these guys, they're not gonna be as aggressive because there's no main healing kind of, there's only Lucio, yeah? And once we set up this angle with the tracer, maybe like right now, you're looking to, where's the tracer? We're looking to TP to the tracer, take this angle control, and then fight. This is fine.
Okay. I just have a question, because I was thinking, so like I noticed that when I would TP to Tracer, there was another map where we did Curie Tracer, and it didn't work as well because I was noticing that when I TP'd to Tracer, I didn't have my TP, so, you know, I kind of just TP'd into danger, and I couldn't really get out like my Tracer could with the blinks. So I think at this point, though, in the game where, you know, the thing hasn't even unlocked yet, you think it's good to TP to Tracer and then just... You think the cooldown's short enough?
It's you shouldn't TP in the fight. That's you should TP
Okay.
to set up you in a position. So if you TP
Okay.
now,
Okay.
you're gonna get your cooldown back. It's kind of, if
Okay.
you think
Okay.
about it like poke phase, brawl phase, you wanna TP in the poke phase to just set up, it's okay.
Okay.
Tracer gets you in a better spot, and then later we can TP out. Yeah, you definitely don't
Okay.
wanna usually TP to the Tracer to kind of, when you're fighting. So if you
Yeah.
would be
Okay.
here, you don't wanna do that. It's too late.
Okay.
You would be with the Tracer already, and then kind of fight your
I see what you're
Sana.
saying.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
It's also depends what you want to play around, because there's might be display. I'm more of a, I like this pressure play more, playing with the Tracer, playing around the damage more, to be honest. But I don't know, like, it depends on what coach tells you as well. Like, if you play with your core, then sure, you can do that, but still think about how do you take angles. How we kind of play not stacked with them, a little bit away, using our verticality to... Okay, you... This is fine. Because even if I take this angle, I still can see my team, so I still can heal them. That's why I'm not thinking it's bad to flank. And if you communicate it...
Yeah. I think our Lucio said he was gonna stay on point, but then he didn't.
You can stay on point, because you can just TP in, TP out, sort of.
Okay.
That's alright. Oh, okay. So... Yeah, you just want to stabilize at this point. Sure. Going back. Yeah, still gonna go back. Wait, yeah, you can poke. Nice. And one hog, okay. Yeah, now you got this tempo back. You can think about what to do next. Nice. Okay, let's see what we do next. So this is like, at this point, see, poke phase, you can be thinking, how do I set up before the next fight? That's why you can play around the Tracer a little bit more. You can even stay there, I don't know, like, if you're looking for the pulse play, sure, you can do that. If you play around the Kiriko ultimate, this is also possible because you create the pass, kind of like that, or maybe like that, I don't know. That's why, like, it's highly dependent on what you do, and highly dependent on what ultimates you're about to use, and it's like about your communication, what your team tells you, what you tell them. Do you remember what was the plan here?
Let me try to remember. I think I knew our Tracer was gonna go for a pulse. And I think I think we said if the pulse didn't work out, I was gonna Kitsune.
Yeah, so see, this is where, if the plan is around X, I want to be enabling X, so we're on the same page, yeah? So how do you enable the Tracer the best?
Just staying near her.
You can do that, yeah? You're okay with that as a Kiriko, that's it. So it's simple, playing around the Kiriko, well, the guys be ready to play around this ultimate with your positioning and stuff, with your resources set up for this. That's why communication is highly important, like, where I'm using it, when I'm using it. If the Trace is looking for the pulse, like here, I would say, like, yeah, why not to stay with her, like, and
I think I was trying to keep my JQ, my Jungle Queen up here.
Yeah, but
I think
the problem is,
I think I wanted to go with Tracer.
Yeah.
At this moment, because I was starting to think about that, I was like, wait, I haven't really played with Tracer. But our JQ was like engaging up there, so I was kind of anticipating that they would nade her.
Yeah, again, see, like, the problem is anticipating.
I'm thinking about the future, yeah.
Focus on the present more, think about how do you win. If the Jungle dies, well, might be on you, maybe at some point, but most of our pressure is dedicated, like, what do we do with our... You mentioned the plan was around the pulse. Well, we need to enable our how do we win first? The second priority is how to disable an enemy maybe and predict something. This is good, but it is just like second priority. You can be enabling Tracer and still saving Junkakuin maybe. You can be enabling Tracer and still maybe using your Kitsune after. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know if it's the best play here though, but this is something you can discuss. And what are you thinking? Okay, what would be better plan here? If I'm looking to do the pulse bomb, then what? Yeah, how our positioning should be. Maybe we shouldn't be looking for the pulse bomb here. Maybe you can set up with this corner, and then these guys can play more passive, and that's where Junker Queen would not go up because there's no need to play around the Tracer. Yeah, always. If there's any doubt, play around. How do you win the fight? You're not winning the fight based on Junker Queen up there.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I think we can summarize at this point. This is good. Yeah, we just did mention a lot. I think the biggest takeaway is play around how you win. So this is I'm thinking how to rephrase it. Maybe play
around win condition.
Yes. I mean, let's just say enable. Enable. I was thinking about the word, then I forgot. Let's just say this: play around the resources which help you to win the fight the most. Yeah, like play around the resources. Yeah, because this is like highly dependent on the plan. Yeah, like the ultimates that they do the biggest amount of pressure. The some abilities sometimes, but definitely like keep playing. Like keep your mindset more of a how do we win the fight? Yeah, like I think let's just say this. How do we win the fight? Enable that. Ultimates. Especially ultimates. Yeah, start with that. Start with enabling. Thinking about this. That does it make sense or?
Yeah, it very helpful. Yeah.
Okay. How to win the fight? Be more proactive. Still, you can do that. Be more. It's kind of the part of how to win the fight. Focus on.
It's funny because it's helpful because I can like now remember really good plays I've made and why they were good because I was like actually being proactive.
Yeah. Main focus is how we win. Second is how to maybe bait out something. Yeah, second focus, I just put it on the enemy team. Yeah, it's always if you solve the team's focus, like what do you need to bait, but you didn't solve your win condition. How do you win? This is like not ideal. Okay. What else? What about, so we talked about composition, so what do you do about those? Like, how do you play around the compositions? What do you want to look at?
Yeah, the range and the angles.
So, you go in a game, look at team comps, your and enemy, and then this side range. It's short or long. And then what about the angles? How do you take what we just mentioned about the angles?
Just determining like whether our comp is able to take soft angles or harder angles.
Try to pay attention to your character, especially. Yeah. And how you take angles. It depends. So it depends on your comp. How you take angles depends on your comp and depends on the enemy sweats too. That's what you gotta look at. Of course, it's not all about that. Yeah, it's not just like always this. Yeah, but it's like big variables. You gotta be looking at. Okay. How you take angles depends. your comp, and then threats, enemy. So and see, even with this, your focus is always what my team comp does first, and then the threats, because you play around your strengths. This is like always better than just thinking about how to not lose and thinking about how to like this guy's gonna do this and this. I can react with sleep dart. No. Be more proactive. Be more proactive. Think how do you win rather than how to not lose.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I think that's all.
Okay. Then we'll wait for how tryouts are gonna be, right? And then hopefully you can record some games. So that's just yeah, let's just get some communication, and we can go with the communication with you. I think why not?
Okay.
This is good. Okay. Any questions?
No, I think that's good. Thank you. It was very helpful.
Yeah, no problem. If there are gonna be any questions, maybe you want to send some timestamps, feel free to do that too.
Okay.
All right. Good luck in your tomorrow's matches. Yeah, tomorrow. It's tomorrow. Yeah. Then good luck tomorrow. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.